Hello, it's Rowan Ravenwolf with Triple Goddess Apothecary and Reiki here for another occult and divination questions. I know it's been a couple weeks. I've been crazy busy, and I have as a guest Classy Cassie. By chance, next week on Friday, the 27th of September at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I think that's 7 p.m. Mountain and 6 p.m. Pacific. And I'm sorry, I think like in Europe, that would be midnight, at least like in England. We will be doing our card pulls. So it's free
That's for our
ticket.
September
Yep.
Triple Goddess Reiki Psychic Friday.
So we do card pulls for as many people as we can get them in. If you do donate, you are guaranteed to get a one card reading. We do have breakout rooms. So if you donate $10 or more, you will be in a private breakout room. So our information is below for the Eventbrite tickets. So there are still spaces available, and we try to get as many readings in as we can. It's a really great event. Don't miss it. At some point, we plan on probably going live on YouTube to do it, but at this point, we're still making it kind of private for people. So it is a private Zoom event for anybody interested. So definitely look in the comments below so that you can get your ticket on Eventbrite. Again, it's either donation and you can donate $1 or more, or just a free ticket. And again, we try to get as many people in as we can. So as always, it's I, Rowan Ravenwolf, with my special guest, Classy Cassie. And our topic today is actually pretty cool. It's one that both of us do, and it is with divination. So sometimes we try to bring in like witchcraft stuff with divination and vice versa. But today we're just going to do divination. We're specifically doing tarot, and it's tarot journaling. I mean, how fun is that? Like, and the importance of tarot journaling. So, Classy Cassie, do you want to like maybe like kind of start a little bit on that?
Well, because my tarot journey started 30 years ago or so. And it wasn't until I took a class and was advised to start my tarot journal that I actually did. And my priestess that I learned witchcraft from was also a tarot reader. And she, in the class on magic that I took, tarot journaling was actually part of the course, talking about that. And so when, you know, the journal can be as fancy or as plain and utilitarian as you want. That's not the issue. The issue is being regular about recording your readings. Because when you first are learning the tarot, self discovery, know thyself, which is what's over the entrance to the Temple of Apollo, where the oracle at Delphi would give her predictions and prophecies. Know thyself. And the tarot is such a good tool for that. Understanding the psychological mysteries of the minor arcana and the life mysteries of the major arcana and putting it all together. And it all starts with just doing a one card a day pull. And the things that you want to note down are the day, the date, the time, the moon phase. Okay, is it full moon? Is it new moon? Is the moon increasing? Is the moon decreasing? Note that down. And then you note the card. Some people, there's all kinds of different techniques for doing this, but the most important thing is to be regular about it and not to forget doing it. Now you can, note down that those details, those factual, practical details, and what card you got. And then, you might pull the card in the morning and kind of keep it in the back of your mind what you got. And then at the end of the day, write 2 or 3 or 4 sentences, a paragraph about how you saw this card manifested in your day, how you noticed the energies of this card affecting you or the situation that you were in that day. And you know what? A lot of the times, the information that you're getting, the understanding of it won't be immediate. Sometimes things have to play out for you to understand in retrospect what the card or the spread was trying to tell you. Hindsight is 2020, and so that's another reason that in your tarot journal you might actually leave some blank space between each day's listing and what you've journaled about it, so that you can go back in 2 weeks, in a month, 6 months, a year, and have room to journal more insights now that you have the luxury of hindsight.
I'll just
So those
add
are my
here.
basics.
I'll add, I kind of do things a little bit different, kind of the same, but a little different. So I do 3 cards, and some people do like 3 cards. So I will tend to either do body, mind, spirit, or I will do past, present, future. And when I do past, present, future, it's what was yesterday, what do I expect today, what will come tomorrow. And I'll pull the cards, I'll write down my prediction. And I do this in the morning, and then I go do my morning ritual after that, which is, get dressed, start work, do my tarot card pull on my on YouTube and TikTok, and Patreon. Then at night, I actually write down what happened and how my prediction worked out in the day. And I do leave a spot for future, because sometimes, especially on past, present, future, if I decide to do a past, present, future that day, I can see like, holy shit, the future was supposed to be for a week time period. And what happened literally 6 days later makes sense for what that card meant. So that's kind of how I do it. There are a lot of companies that actually make just tarot journals. So you can do just a specific tarot journal, or you can combine it with your daily journal if you are a daily journaler. So I tend to do kind of a combination of the two. For a while, I actually was purchasing just a tarot journal that actually had each day marked out. And they did have 3 card spreads. So that's kind of why I like them, because I did 3 card spreads. So there's a lot of different companies that do that, and where you can write in the card or you can use a sticker for the card. I'm now back to just doing, because I was like, why am I doing a tarot journal and a regular journal? Because I like to write down my mundane life stuff, and I like to write down my magical stuff. Like, I did a spell today, it was full moon, and here are my tarot cards. I did the spell after I pulled the tarot cards. I like to be able to do that, because sometimes like that spell I can go, ugh, I shouldn't do a spell during this moon cycle. I shouldn't do a spell if I get this tarot card, because that's telling me that's why the spell went a little bonkers, or this spell was, so it's kind of nice to be able to kind of track that. So I track a little bit more. Mine's not just the tarot. I literally I have a section for my mundane life. I have a section for what I did magically that day. And then I have my divination. So, but there's lots of options out there, and it's kind of nice to like hear our different perspectives and how we do it. But I do think it's really important to leave spots, because sometimes we can go back. I know, like, I've had times when I'm like, why did I get the Empress card? It doesn't make sense. And then like 3 weeks later, it's like, oh, my really good friend got pregnant. Or, like this motherly thing happened, so like sometimes like we can, like at the time we're like, that did not fit in my day. Why did that not fit in my day? Because we're not going to realize it until a couple months later.
I do some of the same thing that you do. I kind of found over time that keeping, a magical journal or a life journal and a tarot journal separate, uh, didn't suit me either. So, I did combine, and I've been writing this journal actually for a few years, and so it doesn't. I don't. In the past, I didn't always keep consistent with doing a card a day spread. And the only reason that I concentrated on saying one a day is because that's where all the beginners start, with one a day. And yeah, I'm up to, three a day when I throw for myself, just like you.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to try to answer a specific question with as few cards as possible. I think you get the most clear kind of a reading, like less is more. Because sometimes the more cards you throw, the more confusing things get.
That's true. And then you start asking more questions. And I don't know,
Or start repeating the same questions. Oops.
or we start to overthink things, and that can create issues. And that's like a common thing, we overthink. Like, oh, I got this card. So,
Well, I like to relate the story of how when I was new at reading, and I would throw a whole spread on the table, and I would look at it, and I'm getting my intuitive impressions, right? And my mind would take a hold so fast, and I would start thinking myself out of my intuitive impressions. Oh, it couldn't be this because think.
yeah, that's when we let the mundane world interfere with our intuition. Yeah.
And
And
that
that's like,
takes practice too, to close that out.
does. Look at this. We're bringing up extra topics. Surprise, surprise. You never know what you'll get when you're here. At least I'm not outside. Earlier, we were testing outside, and I'm pretty sure my naughty squirrel fell out of the tree because I hear this running, and then I hear pop, pop, pop. I'm like, I think he fell. So good thing I would have been sidetracked had we been, well, see, and I derailed us again. But we
Well,
can do
it's like
well in other
Tom
ways.
Hanks in Castaway, where he keeps hearing these thuds and he doesn't realize it's coconuts falling out of the tree and hitting the sand.
Yeah, so we do like that, and that's like a lot of times I think like mixing our magic with our mundane and overthinking. I mean, overthinking, I think for me personally sometimes can be my worst enemy because I let the mundane world interfere, and then I have to like say, well, wait, girl, throw the mundane out. This is witchy and divination time.
I guess I kind of live my life in such a way that I can't kind of separate out the mundane from the magical. If you live right, your whole life is magical, even the mundane stuff.
Well, no, oh no, I mean it can be, but like, like if I'm, for example, if I'm dealing with something on my full-time job that has nothing to do with magic, and I let it interfere in like outside of the work, I don't want that to interfere with my magic. And sometimes that can happen. So sometimes unwanted mundane stuff can interfere. But like
Okay, what's your best technique for short-circuiting that?
for short circuiting it, I usually do a mindfulness practice, or I'll sage myself. So it might be like a 3-minute mindfulness or 5-minute mindfulness, or I might just go meditate for 20 minutes, or I will take an herb bundle and I will
Because there's techniques, there's things that you could do. You don't
Yeah.
have to be overwhelmed.
No, you don't, but you need to be able to recognize it. However, like
Exactly.
when I wake up in the morning, I pull my tarot, I give my body Reiki, and then I go start my water for my tea. I Reiki the hot water while it's in there and my tea is seeping. So my healing energy, which I consider my healing energy and my Reiki energy part of my witchcraft, part of my craft. That's not part of my mundane world. Actually, it is because I combined the two. That is part for me. And then when I stir my tea, I always stir in good intentions for the day, whether it's to bring me positive energy, whether it's to bring me healing energy. But like today, I didn't have tea, I had water, but like when I'm cooking, like, especially if like, my husband's exhausted, I'll put like, give us a good night's sleep to get rid of this exhaustion as I'm like frying up vegetables or whatever it is that I'm cooking. I will put that intention in the food. So it's really easy to combine magic with the mundane, but it's the mundane crap, the mundane stuff that is holding us
Distract.
down that we don't want in our magic life. That's what we have to like push out. We have to like, what can we do to get rid of this? And that's when you need to figure out what technique works. Is it giving yourself Reiki? Is it sitting with crystals for a minute? Is it making an herb tea? Because like sometimes you can take like relaxing, like you can put some chamomile and lavender together, make a nice tea, stir in the intention to get rid of that mundane stress that's bothering you and let it go.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And you know what I would call that? Magical mindfulness.
It is magical mindfulness. But yeah, like after a while, like when you are in the occult world and you're working with divination and witchcraft, after a while, like you're like,
It's second nature.
when I first started out, I'm like, how can I do something magical every day? And then I was like, oh, I have tea every morning. When I got my Reiki, when I took Reiki 1, I'm like, oh, if I give myself Reiki every day, like I'm giving myself that beautiful healing energy. Oh, I'm pulling my divination every morning. I'm responding in my divination and how it interfered with my day. As I'm cooking, like kitchen witchery is like we have to eat. So kitchen witchery is the easiest form of combining your mundane world with your witchcraft world.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That goes along with something else that my priestess taught me when she said that there were 4 kinds of magical spells. There's attraction spells, there's banishing binding spells, there's cursing spells, which she was always careful to say you should never do them, unless you have a really, really good reason. And the 4th kind is blessing spells, and especially self-blessing. And she said, do them often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because as a priestess, each I think woman in witchcraft is a priestess in training. Of course, we should be blessing ourselves and our magic.
And it goes for the male witches out there. You guys are priests, and same thing. It's hard to say both. So we tend to unfortunately say like priestess, but we do know that there are some beautiful male witches out there. My husband's not a witch, but I consider him one. But I know Classy Cassie's husband is. So
A muggle?
he also does Reiki. So,
Oh, then he can't be a muggle.
I know he's not a muggle. So yeah, like it's if you do Reiki energy, like my husband noticed when I got my Reiki master, he was like, do you know while you sleep, you emit your Reiki energy? I was like, oh, well, I realized he does that too. So it gets Reiki energy all over in our room. It's fine. Great. Cool. But yeah, you do like that beautiful healing energy, like just explodes when you even if you just get your Yasui Reiki 1. But if you go up higher, like I teach the Egyptian Reiki also. So you have to be a Yasui Reiki master teacher to take Sasekim Sahu, which is Egyptian Reiki. And when you get that energy, that's even stronger. So there is a reason you have to have Yasui Reiki first, because it is a stronger energy. It's just like Karuna Reiki, which I want to take. It's a stronger energy than Yasui Reiki. You have to have Yasui Reiki master teacher before you can take that. So, but that is like for me, that Reiki energy is very celestial and very magical. It is a connection to the spirit realm. This is where this energy healing comes from. It's a connection to the universe, connection to the upper world, the underworld, the other world. And that can come here and make our earth just so healing and so peaceful and so amazing. So, wow, look at this. Look at how many topics we have.
And it's all a stepping stone. People don't realize you can't just jump around and, I'll take class 4 of this and class 6 of that. No, no, no. The learning builds. It's a stepping stone. You have to have a foundation, a base of certain knowledge before you could go to the next level or layer or raise your vibration.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you're talking about with Yasui Reiki and then Egyptian and then Huna. It's, stepping stones.
Yeah. And it's just like magic. I've ran into people who jump into the more advanced intermediate versus starting out as a beginner. And it's okay. I mean, like, there's no hard, fast rules, but it's like then they have a hard time with basics, like the basic color magic. Like, what candle should I use for this? It's like, this is why you need to have the stepping stones. But like, I have people all the time that will take beginning witchcraft from me, and they'll also take my intermediate classes at the same time. And I'm like, hey, you know what? It's fine. You're learning. That's the most important thing, is you're learning, and take advantage of any class you can. But yeah, there are stepping stones you do need to take, especially like with tarot. Um, I know, like when I was in college, I bought a tarot deck. I ended up giving it to my roommate because when I was going home, I know I've said it before, but I was born in a cult, and I knew, like, my first summer after my freshman year, I could not take that tarot deck home. And so I like give it to a friend, but I didn't take a class. We were just reading the book. And quite frankly, like, the book's great, but you need that extra, whether you take a class, like I teach classes, Classy Cassie teach classes. There's a lot of beautiful tarot people out there to teach classes, or whether you get a book like from Mary Greer or Rachel Pollack and they break that down. But it is important to make sure you learn those fundamentals, because quite frankly, what I did in college with tarot compared to now, like the knowledge and the education I have on it, like I kind of look back and I'm like, we were pulling cards and, but hey, you know what? We were breaking out, like, and when I say we were breaking out, like, most of us had been raised in this cult and we were trying to break away from that cult. And I'm like, hey, you know what? It was our gateway to get the hell out of that cult. Thank you, tarot. Thank you, Edward Waite. Thank you. I always wonder if my girlfriend I gave the tarot deck to, if she still has it.
That's an interesting question. Some decks that were printed 40, 50, 60 years ago and now are out of print are very valuable.
Oh, this was just the Rider-Waite deck that I got.
But you know what? People will even pay big money for older versions of the
Yeah,
Rider-Waite because there's so many collectors out there.
there are a lot of collectors out there.
Yeah, and for instance, I mean, I I now have over 70 decks. And so at being in it 30 years, 70 decks, that's not too bad because I have friends that have hundreds. And I like to be a little bit more selective than that. Not every, the art of every deck appeals to me, but 70 of them did.
Well, because I sell a lot of tarot decks in my online store, and you can't get those on my Etsy store. You can only get them on my website. But I have open decks, so I can do
Readings.
unboxing of tarot decks for people. But there are a couple decks that I opened that the outside of the box looked great, and then I opened it and the cards did not resonate with me. And I'm like, eh. Sometimes, like, I had one deck that it didn't resonate. It was like so bad. I did the unboxing and I literally sold it at a discount price at an event because I was like, well, I opened it, I did an unboxing, the cards didn't resonate. I'm not, but I do have a lot. So there are some decks that I probably would not have purchased on my own if I didn't sell decks online.
I got ripped off. I saw a Facebook ad and I thought it was it applied, it said that it was an online tarot store going out of business and that they were selling decks for $9.99 each. And so I pulled it up, went shopping. I picked a couple of decks, and then surprise, surprise, I get an email receipt that it's some knockoff company, it's some company in China. And what did I get? I got a couple of knockoffs. I got totally ripped off. It wasn't a company going out of business. It was a rip-off ad to get me to buy shit from China. I was so
It's
pissed off.
There's so many, like I did a whole video. There's a video here on YouTube where I actually talked about that. Like I was teaching in class and a student's like, buy your cards from Temu, buy your cards from Temu. And
Yeah, I remember that video.
yeah. Well, first off, the first thing I want to say is when you're taking a class from someone and there are other students, you need to first ask the teacher before you advertise any other business.
Yeah.
The worst part about this is that Temu is not selling the actual decks. They are the knockoff and pirated decks. And so when this happens,
that's why they're cheap.
Yeah, and when this happens, this is our fellow
it rips off
occultists.
the creators.
Yeah, that's where I was going. They're not getting their money for it, and then that's going to make it so that they're not going to be able to support putting out more decks or putting out more books. And so we really need to be conscious of the fact and make sure, is this from the actual company? So check the decks. I even, I literally, like the tarot decks I carry, I get them from US Gameworks. I get them from Red Feather. I get them from Wiser Books because I have my wholesaler license. So I get them from the publisher. I've had companies reach out to me saying, oh, we'll sell you decks wholesale. I pull their stuff up and like, I'll look at the back, like, okay, here's a prime example. This deck is being pirated. It's
I know, I got ripped off for one in a tin.
So this is the regular deck from Los Scarbo, which I can actually get them from Los Scarbo myself. Okay. This is what it will look like. The fraud ones have on the back of the tin, because they're putting them in the tins, and a lot of us like the collector tins. On the back of the collector tin, and I have a tin right here. Let me pull this pixie deck out. This one's legitimate. This one is from US Gameworks. So on the back of the tin of the fraudulent things, there's a QR code to get the book. If there is a QR code on any of the boxes, it is a pirate deck. It's so you just paid $3 to not support somebody in the community and support somebody who's literally committing a crime against the publisher and against the creator. Like,
I don't want cheap knockoffs. I want the actual decks. And I love the deluxe book and deck sets.
Yeah, there's so many great decks out there. As a matter of fact, I've got to do some more unboxing videos because I haven't done one for a while. So watch for that. I do plan on doing some. So, because I do have some beautiful sets that are legitimate. But yeah, and ask, like, especially if you're buying online, it's a quick email. Do you get this from the publisher?
There you go. And in my Etsy store, Classy Cassie Crafts, I've been creating these adorable little fortune teller kits that fit in a tin, and they've got the Ouija board on the cover, and each one has a little bitty tarot deck in a bag, and this is the universal weight deck by US Games. I bought them from US Games. I'm taking it out of the little bag here. So
yeah, and they typically come in a little plastic container with like a chain that you could hook on your
little box.
Yeah.
They come both ways, but so this is an authentic tarot deck that's in my little fortune teller my fortune teller tin, and each one is a little bit different. Like this one has a white skull in it, and a black
Owl.
obsidian little owl.
I thought that
Yes,
was
yes,
like a little
yes.
owl.
So yeah, and I even have a little black crystal ball, and there's a little Ouija board deck in there too. So thanks for letting me put in a little plug for that. They're on my Classy Cassie Crafts Etsy store if you want to go and buy one. They're going to be available through Halloween, but after Halloween, I'm going to let those ads expire because I'm going to put all of my fortune teller kits in the shop on my website.
So I think we've covered like quite a bit today. So hopefully if you love this content, please don't forget to give us a big heart or thumbs up. Please put comments and questions. You can message us. Make sure you look in the description. You'll be able to find how to contact us there. And I just have to throw this out one more time. Next week, again, Friday the 27th. So it's actually less than a week away. We will be having the Triple Goddess Psychic Friday. You can still get your tickets. Again, that link is in the description below. It's a great event. We've met a lot of fabulous people literally around the world, because we've had a couple people from Canada, and we had a couple people from the United Kingdom. That's why I said it's midnight in the United Kingdom. I think it would be, let's see, in the Romanian area, it would be like 2 a.m. So it is kind of early, but if you're in that part of Eastern Europe. So, but please feel free to join if you would like to have a 1-card reading. Just think about your
or watch
question.
us do readings for others and see
We've
how
had-
we do it.
Yeah, we've had people pop in because, and you can pick, like, so you can say, oh, I want Classy Cassie to do it. Oh, I want Rowan to do it. So you can pick who you want to do your reading. So that's kind of nice to be able to do that. Our tickets are on Eventbrite. So if you type in Triple Goddess Psychic Friday, in Eventbrite, you will see mine, Rowan Ravenwolf's, and you will see Classy Cassie. So if you're like, oh,
So
I'm
we're
really
both
drawn.
selling tickets. You don't need to buy from both of us.
Yeah, you don't need to. But if you're like, oh, I really want to donate to Rowan, and I want my reading from Rowan, go ahead, go to mine. If you are like, oh, I resonate with Classy Cassie, go to her. Because let's face it, different people who are tarot psychics or psychics, you may resonate with one person and not another. And you need to make sure you're working with the person you resonate with, that you guys have that connection, that energy together. And that's important. So it's okay if it's not me. It's okay. Just support the occult community and give love to all of us in the support community. Sorry. I have to be goofy sometimes. This is what happens when you're a fire sign.
That's right. You're an Aries and I'm a Leo.
Yep. Maybe one day my grandchild who's a Sagittarius will be a reader too. And then we'll have like three fire signs going crazy together.
Well, my rising sign and my moon sign are both Sagittarius. So we're covered.
We are covered. Well, I have some Leo and Sagittarius, not in my moon and rising, but yeah.
Well, we've all got a little bit everywhere.
We got a little, we gotta have some fire in our lives. I do have some water.
It's really funny. I don't have very much water in my chart. I have very little water, but I have a lot of fire and I have a lot of earth.
What is funny is my fire and water are balanced, and my earth and my air is balanced. And so like I have more fire and water, but I have equal amounts of fire and water and equal amounts of earth and air, which is really like, that doesn't happen. Like
That's really balanced.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I mean, it's weird because like I pulled all my kids, I pulled my grandkids, I pulled my husband, because I like to see, okay, this is what so-and-so's Venus is in. This is how their love language is. This is how I need to make sure they interact. This is how I need to communicate that this is my love language. Oh, this is how my communication is. So I like to break down our natal charts to be able to like, especially like if you are trying to communicate something and you see somebody's not getting it, then you really need to look, what is their communication style? Like what sign is in their communication? Because then, okay, we can't force them to come to us. We have to say, okay, I need to communicate to help them be aware.
Yeah, and at their level, at in a way that they can
And
understand,
understand.
or
Yep.
that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's important. See, we digress after I said so. As always, though,
We always have plenty to talk
we
about.
do. This is why we're not going to try to take a break. So we will always be we will always be here on Sundays. So watch for us, like us. So again, give us a big giant heart, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. If it's on YouTube, hit notify. Again, all my Patreon members, you get this video before anybody else does because you're so special and I love you so much. So, and if you want to join Patreon, because you get lots of like extra perks, my Patreon will also be in the description below. Did I miss anything, Miss Classy Cassie? You want to say anything else?
Just happy Mabon and take
Yes.
advantage of the equal light and equal dark that is happening this weekend.
Yep. Oh yes. And my coven, we're celebrating tonight. So, and then those in Chicago, I'm gonna just throw this out there. If you are in the Chicagoland area, like I am, I will be at Pagan Pride 2024, which is, well, this video is posting today on Sunday. It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Chicagoland. So don't miss Pagan Pride. It's like, it's only once a year here in Chicago. So like take advantage of it. Come out and be weird with all of us. So.
And on October 5th, I'm going to be attending my very first Carolina Pagan Fest. And I heard that last year they had over 3,000 attendees.
Wow.
So I'm kind of anxious to go and take some pictures and, see how the South Carolina pagans do it down here.
Always fun. So as always, please don't forget to give us a big heart, a thumbs up, follow or subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Great blessings.
Blessed be and namaste.